walk like an Egyptian. Just another manic Monday, an eternal flame.
Before the girl bands took over the 90s, one iconic group of rock goddesses had the world swaying to Walk Like an Egyptian and losing their minds over Manic Monday. The Bangles weren't just another pop act, they were a force. They played their own instruments, wrote their own songs, and delivered harmonies so perfectly in sync, they almost felt unreal. Throw in a punk edge, a feminist spirit, and an industry that had no idea how to handle them, and you've got a story that's nothing short of legendary. It all kicked off on a chilly January night in 1981 in a Los Angeles garage, because honestly, where else do rock stories begin? Susanna Hoffs, Vicky Peterson, and Debbie Peterson gathered at Susanna's parents' house, just feeling each other out musically. They broke the ice by singing some classic 60s hits they all loved, and in that moment, a perfect, angelic harmony emerged. No warm-ups, no rehearsals, just pure, spontaneous magic. The three of them locked eyes in awe. Did that really just happen? And just like that, they knew, they had to form a band. It was instant. It was undeniable. She's in. All right, that was it. The spark was lit. In the beginning, they tossed around names like Colors, the Supersonic Bangs, and simply, the Bangs. But let's be clear, they weren't just another girl group. From day one, they exuded real rock star energy. But before all that, the whole thing started when Susanna Hoffs placed an ad in the Recycler, listing her love for 60s bands like the Byrds and the Beau Brummels. I'd add these kind of fantasy bands, she remembers. In the early 80s, most people were focused on punk and new wave. But here was Susanna, standing firm in her love for 60s rock. The Peterson sisters saw the ad, shared the same vision, and just like that, music soulmates were born. When they finally played together, it was like the stars aligned. When bassist Annette Zielinskis joined the band, the lineup was complete, and the Bangles dove headfirst into LA's Paisley underground scene, a blend of 60s psychedelia and gritty 80s pop. They hustled through the club scene, playing any venue that would have them, practicing in garages, putting in the hard work of true rock stars in the making. It wasn't long before the industry took notice. But just as things started to take off, they ran into a problem. Columbia Records came calling, but some random East Coast band had already snagged their name. So, with a quick pivot, they officially became the Bangles. But that wasn't the only shakeup. Annette Zielinskis left to join another band, leaving the bass position wide open. Enter Michael Steele, a former member of the Runaways, who seamlessly slid into the band just as they were on the verge of stardom. Now, if you only know the Bangles from Manic Monday, hold on, because their early music was pure dynamite. Their first major album, All Over the Place, 1984, didn't exactly climb the charts, barely cracking the Billboard 200 at number 80, but that didn't matter. In the 80s, being a favorite on college radio was like earning an underground badge of honor. They hit the road hard, tearing it up in packed bars, sweaty clubs, and college theaters, proving they weren't just another pretty face. These were sunny California girls playing 60s garage pop, and they could shred. The real rock fans knew it, and that's exactly why the Bangles weren't just a flash in the pan, they were a force. 1, 2, 5. What were you gonna do? And guess who was paying attention? None other than Prince himself. Yep, the Purple One was absolutely captivated by their sound. He admired their style so much that he drew inspiration from the Bangles and their Paisley underground peers for his own mid-80s psychedelic era. In fact, Prince was so inspired, he named his iconic studio, Paisley Park, after them. And he wasn't alone, Cyndi Lauper was also a fan. When two of the biggest artists of the decade are vibing with your music, you know you're onto something huge. And trust us, this Prince connection. It was about to launch the Bangles into a whole new stratosphere. If All Over the Place was their warm-up, Different Light, 1986, was the explosion. This album didn't just get the Bangles noticed, it made them everywhere. They were on bedroom walls, blasting from MTV screens, and dominating the Billboard charts. Different Light shot up to number 2 on the Billboard 200, went triple platinum in the US, platinum in the UK, and sold a staggering 3.6 million copies worldwide. So why the massive success? Well, the album was jam-packed with hits. First, there's Manic Monday, the dreamy, bittersweet anthem penned by none other than Prince himself. Yep, he handed him a future classic like it was no big deal. Then there's Walk Like an Egyptian, a song so catchy it became a cultural phenomenon, complete with the iconic dance move. It topped the charts, had everyone doing that sideways shuffle, and even got banned by Clear Channel after 9/11. It also found itself on a Records to Avoid list by the BBC during the Gulf War. Why? Who knows? Apparently, a quirky pop song was too much to handle during international conflict. Here's a fun little secret. Walk Like an Egyptian was originally offered to Toni Basil, yes, Mickey, but she passed. Then, Lena Lovitch recorded a version, but it never saw the light of day because she took a break from music to raise her family. Destiny was clearly waiting for the Bangles. When they finally got their hands on the song, it became a global smash. The music video even earned a nomination for Best Group Video at the 1987 MTV Video Music Awards. Of course, success didn't come without its share of rock and roll drama. Critics grumbled that the Bangles weren't tough enough, and that an all-female band should have a more aggressive, feminist edge. But the Bangles weren't here for the drama. Instead of feeding into it, Vicky Peterson and Michael Steele threw some sarcastic digs at the critics, while Susanna Hoffs kept it cool, saying, "We figure the best way to deal with the situation is to just be a band, go out there, do our job, and not complain about how many people think women can't do rock and roll." Mic drop. Oh, and let's clear something up. Every member of the Bangles sang lead vocals at some point. It wasn't just a one-person show. Everyone wrote, everyone sang, everyone played, and everyone harmonized. Debbie Peterson took the lead on Going Down to Liverpool, and both Vicky and Michael each had their moments in the spotlight. But if there was one voice that truly defined the Bangles, it was Susanna Hoffs. She was the Paul McCartney of the group, the cute one, the bubbly, wide-eyed star whose natural charm sometimes made people overlook her incredible talent. Even when she wasn't leading a track, her voice was the magic that made a Bangles song feel like a Bangles song. By 1988, the Bangles had it all: hit records, sold-out tours, and enough drama to fuel an entire soap opera. Their third album, Everything, should have been their victory lap. Instead, it became the ticking time bomb that eventually tore them apart. You know the classic rock band struggle. Fame comes, egos clash, and suddenly, it's less about the music and more about the mess. And the Bangles, well, they had their share of mess, all right. As their stardom soared, so did the tension. And at the center of it all, Susanna Hoffs. Fans adored her, the media couldn't get enough of her. And her bandmates. Let's just say the constant spotlight on Susanna started rubbing a few nerves raw. It became Susanna versus the rest of us, as the band later admitted. Ouch. The label had been pushing Susanna as the face of the Bangles for years. The media wouldn't stop speculating about her rumored fling with Prince, and the band's once tight creative grip began to slip. By the time Everything dropped, with hits like In Your Room and the global smash Eternal Flame, the Bangles were barely functioning as a unit. Fans even called it the White Album for a reason. They were recording separately, doing their own thing, and pretending the tension didn't exist. But trust me, it did exist. Management dangled solo deals in front of Hoffs and Michael Steele while the rest of the band seethed with frustration. And of course, fights broke out. Steele once got so angry she hurled a chair across the dressing room. "We didn't fight like we should've," she said. "We didn't fight like all the boy bands fight. Instead, they just stopped talking." Now, was it Susanna's fault that she had the perfect blend of talent, camera presence, and undeniable star power? Probably not. But did it help the growing tension within the band? Absolutely not. Her beauty, her natural ability to work the camera in interviews and videos, it all fueled the resentment. And then, the infamous I Move happened. Cue the dramatic music. You know the move, the one that became iconic in the Walk Like an Egyptian video. That sly, flirty glance to the left and right. Yeah, that one. Apparently, that was the final straw, the thing that tipped the already fragile balance within the group. It sounds ridiculous, but in a band already dealing with underlying tensions, something as simple as a well-timed gaze was enough to ignite the flames. And this wasn't just surface-level tension. Debbie Peterson later revealed that things got so dark she actually considered taking her own life. It was that bad, she admitted. "I was thinking of ways to actually do it. I felt like I just didn't need to be here anymore. I was psychologically damaged." All of this while the band was at their peak. Talk about rock and roll highs and lows. Now, let's rewind a bit, because this is where Prince comes in. Susanna Hoffs, yes, Susanna again, being the networking queen she was, convinced their A&amp, our rep, Peter Philbin, to personally invite Prince to a Bangles show in August 1984. Seems like a long shot, right? But to everyone's shock, Prince actually showed up. Cue the hero taking a fall, and sure enough, the band looks over to the side, and there he is, Prince, already in awe. Susanna worked her magic and made the purple one hand them Manic Monday on a silver platter. Beautifully for women, you know, I mean, he just got it, and he loved to give these songs away. He loved doing this. It was a generous act. That connection became the stuff of legend. But as the years went on, things took a strange turn. According to a book by Hachette Book Group, Prince's admiration for Hoffs morphed into low-key stalking. It started with little things, messages left on their tour bus, him floating around the band, the constant threat of him suddenly appearing on stage. But then it escalated. His purple limo would mysteriously show up wherever they were, without him ever getting out. I think he was following us, the band admitted. Okay, Prince was a musical genius, but even geniuses can be a little creepy. And then came the truly weird stuff. Being in a famous band means getting fan mail, and with that comes the occasional bizarre gift. For example, Vicky Peterson once received a chicken bone necklace. Yep, someone thought, what Vicky needs is a handcrafted poultry relic. And then there was the truly chilling moment. An apothecary bottle filled with a cloudy, viscous liquid, sent specifically to Susanna. I'll let you guess what that was supposed to be. After that, the Bangles implemented a strict, gloves-on policy for opening fan mail. Because, honestly, you never know what people are capable of. And then, poof, the Bangles broke up in 1989, abruptly and dramatically, right in the middle of planning an international tour. Hoff's solo career didn't exactly take off as expected, although she did have a few hits, like My Side of the Bed. Steele quit for good, and the band missed out on the 90s. Years later, they patched things up. We just kind of grew up a lot, they admitted. They learned how to be better musicians, better friends, and better collaborators. Then came Doll Revolution in the early 2000s. But by then, the music landscape had changed, and their time at the top had already slipped away. Still, even after over 4 decades, the Bangles are still rocking, just on their own terms. They've released other works like Sweetheart of the Sunday, 2011, and a rarities collection, Ladies and Gentlemen, The Bangles, 2014. They've also kept busy with live shows, proving they've still got it. But here's the real reason the Bangles never really got their due. Yes, they received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2007. But as much as we love the Bangles' music, there's no denying that sexism played a huge role in how they were perceived. Instead of being recognized as the influential all-female rock band they were, the industry, and let's be honest, some fans, reduced them to cute hit makers. Even now, Bangles forums are flooded with middle-aged men obsessing over their looks rather than their music. Meanwhile, rock purists dismiss them as sellouts for their pop success or refuse to rank them alongside their male Paisley Underground peers like the Dream Syndicate or Green on Red. When it comes to the larger jangle pop and college rock movement, bands like R.E.M. and The Church get all the respect, while the Bangles get overlooked. So, they were caught in a double bind, either ogled and objectified or dismissed as not real rockers. So, where are they now? Susanna Hoffs, the Bangles' lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist, went solo in 1991 with When You're a Boy, which gave her a Billboard Top 40 hit, My Side of the Bed. But the solo career, much harder than she thought. There were so many jobs to do that I wasn't used to doing, like, everything, she said. In the 90s, motherhood threw her into an identity crisis, especially with her husband, Austin Powers director Jay Roach, rising to fame in Hollywood. She even tried recording music in her garage to stay close to her kids. More recently, Hoffs has been on a creative spree, releasing Bright Lights, 2021, The Deep End, 2023, and making her author debut with the rom-com This Bird Has Flown, 2023, which received rave reviews at 66. And with a net worth of $100 million, she's still balancing rock, writing, and family life with Roach and their 2 sons. As for Vicky Peterson, the Bangles' lead guitarist didn't slow down after the split. She rocked out with the Continental Drifters and Psycho Sisters in the 90s, even stepping in to fill in for the Go-Go's on tour. In 2003, she married John Cowsill, yes, from the Cowsills. By 2017, Vicky and John teamed up with actor-musician Bill Miumi to form Action Skulls, releasing their album A Different World in 2020. At 67, she's still jamming. After the breakup, Vicky's younger sister, Debbie Peterson, the Bangles drummer, co-founded Smashbox with the Go-Go's, Gina Shock, which later morphed into Kindred Spirit. Now 63, married since 1989 with 2 kids, Debbie has a $10 million net worth and continues to play music, collaborating with the late John Wicks and the No Ones. Last but not least, Michael Steele. Before joining the Bangles, Steele, who was known as Mickey Steele, was a founding member of the Runaways, though she left before the band hit big. As the Bangles' bassist, she also took lead vocals on deep cuts like Following and Complicated Girl. Post-Bangles, she played with bands like Crash, Wisdom, and Eyesore, but officially retired from music in 2005. Now 69, she's enjoying a quiet retirement with a $7 million net worth.